Lewis Hamilton has posted a cryptic message that hinted toward an exquisite and fan-favorite reunion, and now that he's starting a brand new adventure in Ferrari, it looks like he is ready to restore some of the old connections he had lower back in Mercedes the professional cut-up, with Cullen, who has always visible next to him in the course of Grand Prix weekends, has hit the Hamilton fans difficult. However, it seems like they may paintings collectively again in Ferrari after all the latest recommendations that have been dropped in the ultimate submit of Hamilton with this in mind. Is he ensuring to not leave whatever to danger and tick all the containers for success? And in that case, need to LLA be worried? Angela Cullen has been considered one of Hamilton's closest buddies and professional co-workers, who isn't a Formula One driver. And the physiotherapist who worked with Hamilton from 2015 to 2023 has actually left her mark at the 7-time international champions properly being of direction. She saw the stress they had to go through with motors like the YY13. But it surely has been painful to look these cut-up, their expert dating mulberries, as Angela devoted her existence to touring around the world and seeing destinations like Egypt barley and California guave tofurkin. However, Alice. Now, both of them have long gone skiing together, and Cullen wore a Ferrari healthy. Which recommendations towards a scenario in which maybe a reunion can be viable, now that there is not whatever keeping Hamilton return from bringing old accolades from Mercedes, who are not with the team anymore? Of route, we all predicted Bono to be the first popular man or woman close to Hamilton to comply with him, to Ferrari, but the phrases with the race engineer are just no longer similar to the ones Cullen had, which in all fairness, obvious to expect whilst speaking approximately how influential Cullen turned into on his career. Hamilton has constantly had a high opinion of her and insisted that during this sport, the most critical element is to surround yourself with superb human beings. In addition, adding humans for sure may not recognize it clearly because they see it from a distance. However, she has been one of the finest matters that has came about to me in my existence. I've been fortunate to paintings with loads of humans, and she is the single toughest working female that I get to be around. She is centered and selfless, and she makes my weekends peaceful each day I awaken something time its miles. She is simply effective. In no way a unparalleled day has she been bad. So that is very, very important of direction. That is from the time that they elaborated in Mercedes, and however, ever considering Cullen left, we've got visible a few depressing statements from Hamilton that aren't always related to Angela, however, should nevertheless be considered a kingdom of mind that he could have handled loads higher, if perhaps the physiotherapist was nonetheless around. Subsequent to him, regrettably she wasn't, and that is why Hamilton thinks it is very important to surround yourself with high-quality influencing humans. Elaborating similarly on this, the 7-time international champion said, "I assume it's crucial in existence to place nice human beings around you. You cannot be going around with dead weights. You can't be going around with people who do not encourage you to be better and raise you up while you are down. You need to be around folks that can do that for you, and she or he is one in all of them." Of this is displaying us signs and symptoms that the 7-time international champion is in reality equipped for a reunion, because to mention that his first year in Ferrari goes to be extraordinarily hard is virtually an understatement. He has to evolve to a new automobile and a very new team, beginning from the engineers. Lower back in Maranello and completing with the man who could be constantly in his ears, Riccardo Adami of Pathi is up for the mission. And it's now not the primary time that an international champion is converting a race engineer, however. Given the fact that that is Ferrari, we are talking about the group that is very questionable. Concerning team tactics and strategies, then you definitely cannot assist but marvel wherein ought to. You see Hamilton on this whole state of affairs. The maximum essential issue that he'll need is aid from any individual who is very near him. And even though their paths have divided, it is no longer like they ended on a bitter word. It's a very easy mission for Hamilton to convey Cullen lower back into his lifestyles if he wants to. The large query is whether Angela could be open to the project due to the fact after the phrases of Hamilton regarding her usually being there for him while he wished her the maximum from early dawn to past due night, then I wager this duo just cannot wait any longer to get returned on their expert courting, while speak me approximately the presence of Cullen in his existence, even as, in Mercedes Hamilton said, "Angela's with me till 10. or 11:08 p.m. each day, and with me from 6 or 7 a.m. Every morning, we adore doing what we do. We love doing it, collectively, and I'm exceptionally thankful to have her on the street. I don't assume I ought to do it without her. Of course, that is an element that desires to be discussed privately. However, it's glaringly something that we would love to look to two people who devoted massive quantities in their professional lives to Mercedes now being reunited inside the fiercest rival of the Brackley Bay squad and ensuring that they're going to make the most each single twad of their collaboration. Be that as it may, Hamilton might have some bigger issues on his mind because he's nevertheless of path yet to try out the Ferrari automobile. And even as all of the 1,000 km were positioned across 4 days on Barcelona the track that Ferrari rented solely for this, typically the testing of 0 km is finished all through a period of 1 month. But Ferrari and Hamilton don't want to depart something to threat, and that they need to get stuff accomplished as early as possible, whether or not he will be riding the SF23 or the Bone 175, or to be greater specific, the 2023 Challenger, respectively. It's far to be determined by the crew. What is thought from this aspect is that the 7-time global champion can't wait for March to come back quickly sooner, because if you study the statements from his team, fundamental Fred Veer, and the idea of the auto being changed 99%, then you definitely would typically assume that Hamilton might want to have the top hand as early as feasible, while talking about the 2025 season and what we must anticipate in terms of the car's philosophy. And Layout 4 went on to mention, if it is going to be aggressive, we'll find out in Bahrain. Every so often you do not realize you are taking risks till afterwards. The auto may be completely new. I think we're going to have much less than 1% of the parts in commonplace with the 2024 cars. It is a different challenge, however. The identical applies to all of us. We cannot say now if 2025 could be our 12 months, but I consider the project we're operating on, it will still be an extreme task, just like the one we just completed. I'm very proud of how we tackled problems this year, but we need to take any other step towards consistency. And from Hamilton's aspect, this isn't the only education he has executed, with a view to ensure that the transition to Ferrari could move smoothly. He has been traveling Maranello, a couple of instances, 5 to be greater precise, in a distinct way at the same time as nevertheless being below agreement with Mercedes for you to ensure to get to know the facilities as an awful lot as he can. The 7-time world champion has additionally talked to Vettel, his old nemesis and rival, approximately for a year. The offerings have spread to environmental and climate change shockwaves, and we're scared shitless of Atomy, which it goes to reveal that he wants to make sure to have the pleasant of the satisfactory available class, which Cullen additionally falls underneath. Hamilton has a bad voice for no longer being a driving force who can contribute to delivering the great remarks for a vehicle's improvement. And, at the same time as we do have heaps of arguments that may debunk this theory, it's a story for another video, some of Hamilton's needs were granted, including the location of the cockpit being barely lower back, so he will have a bit greater sense with the rear end of the auto and a piece much less. The front, which he defined, become too biting in Mercedes, and felt like he became sitting at the front tires. What this goes to show again is that Hamilton is leaving not anything to threat, and that he is now not coming right here to Ferrari to retire. He is coming to win a championship, and do it with grace. With all this in thoughts, D watched that Angela Cullen would be a superb part of Hamilton's success tale in Ferrari in the event that they join forces, and greater importantly, D observed that she'd be open to a reunion, outdoor their antique. Team Mercedes, with a fresh start in front of them, allow us to realize within the comments below. And in case you need to recognize more about the big shakeup in Alpine that noticed the French team signing Colapinto as their reserve driving force, make certain to check out the video. It really is performing in your display proper now. That's the big shakeup in Alpine that noticed the French team signing Colapinto as the reserve driving force proper now.